There we go, a little bit of wide angle action with the camera lens. It's making everything look a little bit fisheye, but I just wanted to zoom out so you can actually see everything. So did my morning cardio, a little bit of a change up to my weekly cardio, the way that I structure it. So I'm not doing it on my rest days anymore. I mean, I'm doing it on my rest days. I'm not doing it on my leg days. That's what I meant to say. So the 2 leg days out of the week, no cardio anymore. I've just basically divvied out the half an hour of cardio from each of those days over the remaining days in the week. So that just means I'm doing a bit more than 26 minutes or 25 minutes per day of cardio. On my training days that aren't leg days, I'm doing about half an hour, and then I'm doing even a little bit longer on my rest days now. So 5 days a week cardio, but still the same net weekly cardio in terms of minutes, if you get what I'm saying. So yeah, but here with meal number 1, getting ready for the gym. So got my protein sludge, whatever you want to call it. You know the deal. Fat-free Greek yogurt, protein powder, cacao powder, blueberries, a bit of honey, flax, hemp, chia meal, and some cinnamon for taste. And then the rice cakes. And now I've decided to make one other adjustment too, because I've never actually really liked the jam rice cakes. When I make rice cakes, I do obviously some with honey and powdered peanut butter, and the others with jam and powdered peanut butter. But to be frank, I don't enjoy the jam ones. So I've just decided, you know what, I'm just going to do honey and powdered peanut butter from now on for all of them. So that there, I'm going to take 1 berberine and 1 digestive enzyme complex, and then it will be time to chow down. But yeah, upper body. So I'm quite looking forward to it actually. I enjoy my first session of the week. I can hear the garbage truck emptying the garbage bins on the street. All right. There we go. Time to head to the gym. First time mounting the new camera in the car, and I've got to tell you, it's making me a little bit anxious. I might actually take a picture of, hang on a minute, I'll just pull over and I'll take a picture of this so I can upload it to the video so you can see how I've actually got the camera mounted, because let me tell you this, nothing makes you more anxious when it comes to your camera equipment than having a $3,000 hunk of plastic and metal mounted to your windshield with a suction cup. And that's pretty much what's going on right now. So quite anxious. I really hope that the camera doesn't drop, because I don't have the funds to replace this camera, I will tell you that. So yeah. Hang on a minute. I might just get the ND filter and put it on the camera, because it looks a little bit overexposed. There we go. The ND filter is on. Just got to find an appropriate level of exposure. We'll stick with that, and if it's a little bit too dark or underexposed, I'll fix it up next time. So where were we? Yeah, upper body today, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm leaving a little bit early in hopes of beating the afternoon rush hour at the gym, because it's always almost an impossible challenge trying to train in peak hour in the afternoon, that is. The morning peak hour, a little bit of a different story. I mean, if you train in the mornings, everybody tends to be on a bit of a mission, so it seems to be a little bit easier to get onto equipment, even if the gym is packed and busy. The afternoon, on the other hand, because everybody's finished their work for the day, they've finished school for the day, everybody's just in a bit of a more lackadaisy mindset, I think, and everybody's up for a chat, which, I mean, I'm not. If I'm at the gym, usually I'm strapped for time, unless if it's on the weekend, that's a different story. But during the week, if I'm at the gym, usually I've got a small time window that I've allocated to myself to get the job done. And so yeah, training in peak hour in the morning is a bit more manageable and achievable. Training in the afternoon in peak hour, I mean, geez, you're looking at least sacrificing 2 to 3 hours of your day if you try to do that. So I'm really hoping that I did miss the peak hour today, because last week I didn't a couple of times, and it really stretched out my training sessions and ate into my work schedule. So yeah, but that's the benefit, I guess, the advantage of this new split that I'm doing, where I'm training 5 days per week now instead of 4. It allows me to just kind of divvy out my total weekly training across the course of one additional training session per week, which just shortens the overall duration of every session. So that way I can be in and out of the gym a little bit quicker, and help avoid being stuck at the gym for too long at any given point in time, or any day of the week. But yeah, I honestly prefer training 5 days a week too. I think we all have our preference. I mean, my dad, he was a bit of a maniac, but let me tell you this, story time. So my dad used to train 6 days a week, I think even sometimes 7 days a week, but normally 6 days per week. My dad was quite into bodybuilding when he was younger. He never competed. He had a lot of friends who told him he should compete, because he's one of those individuals where no matter how much he ate, he would just stay incredibly lean year round. And he was quite muscular too. I mean, he was born prematurely, but he was 5'10", and I believe, single digits. He'd walk around single digits year round. He was quite physically active, don't get me wrong. Like, I've been training 6 days a week minimum, and then on top of that too, having a physically demanding job. He was a butcher by trade, and he's been a butcher since he did his apprenticeship when he was 16. And so yeah, he had a quite high energy turnover, let's just put it that way, and always very athletic growing up through school. Played every kind of sport you could imagine, team sports, solo sports. Just got to pay attention here just to make sure I'm driving the right direction, because I took a wrong turn. So I'm hoping that I'll make it to the gym driving this different route, and I'm pretty certain I'm going the right way. Yeah, I am. Cool. So back to what I was saying. So my dad, yeah, he had quite high energy turnover, and I think 5'10", or he used to make a point, he was 5'10" and a half. He's 5'10" now because he's lost a bit of height with his old age, but 5'10" and a half. I'll give him that half an inch while I'm telling this story. And he'd weigh single digits around, say, 200 pound, 210 pounds. So yeah, it was pretty muscular for a natural guy. He was pretty lean and pretty muscular, and he used to train everything 3 times a week. So his split was actually it was kind of a bro split, but it kind of wasn't at the same time. Like, it wasn't a traditional upper lower split. What he would do is chest, back, biceps on one day, and then he'd do legs, shoulders, and triceps on the other day, and he'd alternate between those sessions. So every week, training 6 days a week, he'd get those sessions done 3 times. So he was basically hitting everything with 3 times a week frequency, and he did a reasonable amount of volume. I think he used to do on average 3 working sets per exercise, anywhere between 6 to 10 or 8 to 12 reps typically. Sometimes he'd go a bit higher than that, but for simplification of telling the story, let's just say 6 to 15 reps depending on what exercise and which session. I'm sure he alternated. I didn't go into much detail when I was asking him questions about it, or when we were speaking about it in the past, but I'd assume that each day, like three times a week frequency, once in the week maybe he was doing lower rep ranges, and then the next day a more moderate rep range, and the next day a higher rep range. So that way every muscle group was getting exposure to different rep ranges, different levels of load, degrees of loading, and yeah, it worked for him. It worked well for him, and I actually did trial that split out a while back, and I did quite like it. But right now, just given everything that I'm currently juggling. I don't think 6 days a week is very feasible, given that I'm trying to focus more on my athletes and business. And then on top of that as well, of course, my health. And I think as good as training is for your health, I mean, the devil's in the dose, right? Training will increase or lead to an increase in oxidative stress, just a byproduct of pushing your body. But that then obviously initiates a stress response, which is good for your health. I mean, the stress response, the response that your body has to the stress applied to it, is ultimately what leads to training being beneficial for your health, or at least one of the elements of it. So yeah, you could make the argument that it's good to train that often, but only and if only you can recover from it and adapt to it, which I don't think I would be able to right now. But I mean, down the track in the future, I might perhaps return to that. I might return. Jeez, what's this guy in the truck doing? He has no clue what he's doing. Just holding up the traffic on the road. Yeah, so I mean, down the track in the future, yeah, perhaps I might switch to a 6-day split again, or 6-day training roster in a 7-day week. Just having one rest day and hitting everything thrice. That's a word that you don't hear very often. Thrice a week, or 3 times a week. So yeah, I've got to tell you, I've got to be honest, it's incredibly nerve-wracking watching my camera just jiggle around. I'm having full faith in this camera mounting equipment that it's going to do its job and not do me dirty and dislodge from the windshield, because that would be tragic. But yeah, almost at the gym now, so I'll probably wrap the video up about here, maybe a little bit further up. But yeah, my point being is that at the end of the day, like, the split is largely irrelevant when it comes to your training. Just choose a training split that you enjoy, one that you can progress on. I mean, if you enjoy a split but you fail to progress week to week or month to month, then it doesn't matter how much you enjoy that split, you probably shouldn't do it. And on the flip side, if you're progressing incredibly well on a split but you absolutely hate it, then you've really got to ask yourself, is this the right split for me? Because I mean, we spend a lot of time in the gym, right? We spend a lot of time, I mean, you break it down, even though it's, say, only 1 hour, maybe 4 to 6 times a week, that's still a large chunk of your free time outside of, say, work, outside of family time, outside of school, outside of sleep. Like, we only really have a handful of hours. Who's calling me? We only have a handful of hours in our day outside of that. So I mean, yeah, how we spend those hours is pretty important. And if you don't enjoy the time in the gym because you're following a split that might be quote unquote optimal for your gains or your progress, but one that you absolutely have to drag your feet to the gym to do, then it might be time to reconsider the way that you structure your training. That's just my personal opinion. I mean, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but me personally, I would struggle to do something long term that I didn't find enjoyment in. And same thing goes with diet. I mean, a lot of people say to me, how do you eat the same thing day after day? It's because I like the routine. I enjoy eating the same thing every day, whereas for some people that isn't enjoyable. And I think that's a big reason why some people thrive in bodybuilding whereas others don't, because you have to be able to find some enjoyment in the monotony of things, because bodybuilding is very monotonous when you do it right. And when I say when you do it right, when you do it in a way that facilitates the best results, like I just said, sometimes like the split that you might not enjoy might bring about the best results. So it's kind of like it's a double-edged sword. You need to enjoy your training, you need to enjoy your diet, but to a degree, and to that degree it will be dependent upon the magnitude of your goal. So if you're wanting to be an IPV pro, then you're going to have to forego a little bit of enjoyment probably for optimization, whereas if you're just a general member of the gym, just a member of the general public going to the gym to get in shape and stay healthy, then geez, I mean, you probably want to enjoy your training and your diet a little bit more, and maybe sacrifice your rate of progress a little bit in order to do so. But that's a decision that you have to make. That's a shot that you have to call. So that's my thoughts on the matter, my 2 cents on the matter. Anyway, I'm going to pull over here and I will just end this here and then continue my trip to the gym. And I think I better check who that was trying to call me. It didn't come up with identification, but I think it was my fiance. Ooh. No music today. I left my earphones at home. So this should be interesting. Right side is definitely weaker. Now when it comes to the neutral grip variant of pull downs, I'm not too concerned with getting all the way down. I'm kind of just more concerned with getting down to the point to which the lats are most active, ending the rep there and then going back up. Like I could go down further and get that bit of retraction at the bottom, get a bit of extension through the thoracic spine, but that's just going to get a lot of upper back involved, which I'm not really trying to do with this exercise. I might get a little bit more extension through the thoracic on the third set when I switch to the straight bar, but that's just because the priority is then shifting from less lat, more rhomboid traps, that sort of thing. Whereas here it's less rhomboid traps, more lat that I'm focusing on. There's no right or wrong. Like you can do pull downs with more extension, pull downs with more posterior expansion or thoracic flexion. It just ultimately depends on what it is that you're trying to get out of the movement, what you're trying to milk out the most. If it's lat, then put yourself in a position where you're loading the lats more. If it's upper back, same deal, put yourself in a position where you're leveraging the upper back muscles more. Yeah, bit of a rest, one more set of these, and then to the straight bar. Feels weird not using my my belt this week after using it last week. Alright, time for the straight bar. Feels a little bit too wide. Somebody tells me I used this weight last week. I think I misrecorded the weight. I wrote down 73, but I think it was 79 because that felt starkingly similar to last week. I got the same number of reps. There's no way that was heavier.
If I'm not PRing on weight this week, I'm PRing on reps. Okay. It's one less rep what I got last week, but in saying that, I do believe that grip was a bit closer, so I might try a little bit of a wider grip on the second set. See if I can match what I got on set number 2 from last week. Alright, slightly wider grip. Surprising. One less rep on both sets. Might have to reevaluate my total volume for chest each week. Might be overshooting. You really know. Probably should have put my straps on, not straps, wrist wraps. Wrist wraps. I probably should have put them on my final warm-up set, but I forgot. So hopefully everything feels good despite that. I feel like my jaw just cracked. Hopefully that was my jaw, not my neck. Yeah, I'm convinced I'm either just fatigued from external factors outside of the gym, or I'm overshooting my tolerable workload for chest at the end of the week. So what I'll do is I won't adjust my volume yet, but if I say, for example, have 2 weeks in a row, so say if next week I still am not able to match what I got last week after having a bit of a rough week, then I'll know that I need to cut my losses and yeah, shave some volume off while I'm ahead rather than persist. But if it's only 1 week, it could just be an off week and I'll just put it down to that then. So what I guess I'm getting at is you can't be too quick to dismiss something. Give it a bit of a chance and see if things come good, and if they still don't come good, then that's when you want to obviously intervene. An intervention is not required until a plateau is persistent, in my opinion. Now I am intending on being more strict with this tricep movement, unlike the ones on my arm day. So there'll be minimal shoulder movement in this because I really want to just isolate the, I guess, action at the elbow joint. Don't know what it is, whether that right side is just a little bit weaker or if I'm getting better recruitment so I burn out sooner, but I always seem to lose 1 rep on that. That's all I got.